How do we even put into words what our dad meant to us and so many others? Though he passed away in August 2010, he left behind a legacy of compassion. He was the kind of person who would give the shirt off of his back and freely gave of his time, his energy, and his financial support to make our community a place where the power of violence was challenged and opposed by his strength, gentleness, and compassion. For those of you who didn't have the opportunity to know him, his heart was larger than life. Everyone knew that he treasured his family, friends, and colleagues, but our dad also treasured and cared deeply for those whom he had never met, but knew needed help. The people served by CVIC were as real to him as the people he saw day to day. He knew about their desperation, and he wanted to help. Along with our mom, Lisa, he made a tangible difference in their lives. He loved CVIC and all it stands for, to uphold the people's dignity and ensure their safety and freedom. In today's world, Dad would want nothing more than to help others, and now is your chance to fulfill one of his many dreams. We miss him every day and know his legacy will continue to live on with the help of all of you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jody Hodgson, and I'm the CVIC Board Chair, and I'd like to welcome each one of you to the CVIC's 19th Annual Judd Sondreal Memorial Rise and Shine for Peace Breakfast. As the video a moment ago highlighted, this special event is named after Judd, a longtime donor, a past board member, and a beloved friend of the CVIC, who passed away very unexpectedly in 2010. Judd was an incredible advocate for children and adults oppressed by violence. Judd's wife, Lisa, is continuing Judd's legacy by underwriting this event in his memory while surrounded by her loving family, daughter Brittany and her husband Phil, and daughter Annika and her husband Matt. Let's please take a moment to recognize this incredible family. Thank you again, Lisa. The CVIC is honored to have this time with you today, and we thank you for the faithful generosity you continue to share on behalf of our thousands of clients each year. Your longstanding commitment changes lives, transforms futures, and enables the CVIC to offer powerful education and outreach to prevent violence before it ever begins. We simply cannot thank you enough for your kindness and dedication. To begin our time together with an invocation, I'm pleased to invite Pastor Aaron Bai from Calvary Lutheran Church to come forward.
Good morning. Let us pray. Good and gracious God, as we gather here this morning, may we come with hearts open and spirits united. Each of us holds within us the capacity to spark change, to offer comfort, and to be a beacon of hope for those who seek safety and healing in our community. This morning, let us be reminded of the new commandment that Jesus gave to us all, to love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. Let this divine guidance permeate our hearts and guide our actions as we extend our hands in love and support to all of those in need. As we embark on this journey together, let us be guided by empathy, fueled by determination, and inspired by the belief that every act of kindness, every moment of solidarity, every step taken towards justice has the power to create a ripple effect of transformation in our community. May this gathering be a testament to the power of one voice, one action, one life changed. And may it ignite a flame of hope that illuminates a path free from violence and fear. We ask these things in the name and for the sake of Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you for that warm and meaningful invocation, Pastor Aaron. This is an ideal way to begin our time together and build upon the focus of this year's breakfast, the power of one. These 4 words are simple, but they represent a collective and dynamic to a complex problem. The power of one is an appeal to everyone in this room to help us advance CVIC's Safer Tomorrow's roadmap, a visionary, holistic, and highly collaborative plan to end interpersonal violence in 2 generations. Through the structured development and implementation of 3 core pillars, safety, healing, and education prevention, we envision a community where all people are safe, respected, and free. Your support today provides crucial safety and healing services such as emergency shelter and protection orders, evidence-based therapy, and traditional housing resources. Your generosity also enables investments in education and outreach to help us create a violence-free community. Everything you will hear today ties back to our mission: preventing violence, promoting safety, and building hope. We will share updates and highlights today of your generous contributions and their impacts on area families, as well as the many community partners who walk alongside our team. This collective support makes it possible for clients and their families to escape violence and transition to a life free of fear and full of hope. By investing your time with us this morning, you too are embracing the power of one by opening new doors for area neighbors impacted by interpersonal violence. In addition to Lisa Sondreal's tremendous support, we are grateful that other businesses and organizations have stepped forward to offer in-kind gifts and cash sponsorships. A special thanks to Altru's leadership and marketing team, Todd Forkel, Megan Compton, and Annie Bonzer, for your leadership and belief in our long-range plan. Altru's lifetime giving signifies more than 3 decades of safety, healing, and educational transformation for area families who are now thriving. This year's leadership gift is so appreciated. Please join me in thanking them. A huge thank you also to Pat Traynor, Executive Director of the Dakota Medical Foundation, for another generous sponsorship that they have graciously awarded for the 2nd straight year. Altru and Dakota Medical Foundation were among our original Trailblazer investors who believed in the long-range capacity of our Safer Tomorrow's roadmap. Their sponsorship today provides a head start on pivotal operating funds, which we will share more about toward the end of our time together this morning. Because every friendship and partnership starts with a conversation and an invitation, I'd like to begin by acknowledging the 77 table captains who convinced you to come start your morning with the CVIC. By filling up this room with people who care, you show passion for making our community a place where everyone can thrive. Now, all table captains, those wearing an orange ribbon, please stand so that we can recognize you. And CVIC's Board of Directors, through your leadership, you create a culture of innovation and excellence. Board members wearing a green ribbon, will you please stand so that we can recognize you? We have special acknowledgements for our Dream Maker Society and Rise Up members later in our program. I'd also like to acknowledge some individuals who have been working tirelessly to prepare a memorable morning for you. Please help me in thanking Cara Fossey, Senior Director of Development, Kimberly Leitz, Director of Development, Riley Egan, Donor Database Specialist, Lindy Merck, Executive Communications Manager, and Suzanne Irwin, Video Specialist. Let's give them a round here. Thank you. I'd like now to move on to the portion of our program where we recognize, this year we're going to recognize 10 individuals who live the CVIC mission through their day-to-day interaction with our team and support of our clients. Each year, the CVIC board and staff select a remarkable community member to receive our Jim Vignes Peacemaker Award. This award honors someone who has gone above and beyond to do their part to end interpersonal violence in our community. We have presented 21 of these awards since 2002. It is our way of acknowledging the incredible collaboration involved in ending violence in Grand Forks County and beyond. We name the award in honor of the agency's first peacemaker, Jim Vignes. Jim was honored in 2002 and sadly passed away in 2022. Jim was a steadfast advocate of our work and a tremendous friend to the CVIC and its employees. He worked around the clock to ensure that investigations were thorough and that survivors felt comfortable every step of the way. This year, we honor 10 incredible individuals who are all very deserving of this award. Here are your nominees. Linda Bundy, Mainstream Boutique. Rachel Eggstead, Grand Forks County State's Attorney Office. Erica Enderud, Grand Forks Police Department. Jennifer Freeman, also Grand Forks Police Department. Chuck Hiles, C&B Home Improvement. Christine Litzinger, Grand Forks Public Schools. Andrew Schneider, Grand Forks County Sheriff's Office. Donna Smith, Equal Opportunity and Title IX, UND. Kyle Thorson, Archives Coffee Shop. And L. Walsh, Central High School. Congratulations to all of our very well-deserving nominees. Please stand so that we can recognize you. The winner of the 2024 Jim Vignes Peacemaker Award, who has shown an extraordinary commitment in working for peace in our community, is Chuck Hiles. Chuck has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to provide services to CVIC for more than a decade. Chuck consistently responds promptly and prioritizes CVIC's maintenance and repair needs, demonstrating his dedication to ensuring our facilities, and particularly our shelter, are maintained to the highest standards for the comfort and safety of our guests. If there is an issue, even if it is outside Chuck's scope of expertise, he provides recommendations and helps as best he can. Chuck goes above and beyond by also assembling most of the furniture that's utilized in our facility. Chuck, if you could please make your way up to the stage, we would love to recognize you. Chuck is very mindful of client privacy and confidentiality and consistently has positive and respectful interactions with shelter clients, even bringing treats throughout the year for clients and staff to enjoy. For shelter clients, arriving at a safe and welcoming space is often the first step in their healing journey.
I just want to say thank you very much.
Thank you, Chuck. You truly are a peacemaker to so many staff, survivors, and their families. Congratulations on being named this year's CVIC Peacemaker. We truly appreciate your dedication to Grand Forks County through your selfless examples of kindness. Thanks to Chuck and so many other peacemakers, our Safer Tomorrow's strategies continue to show both signs of hope and progress. They also demonstrate sad reminders of how much work is still ahead. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men will experience interpersonal violence in their lifetime. That represents more than 12,000 Grand Forks County residents, nearly 18% of our population. In North Dakota, nearly 140,000 people, or more than 94,000 women and nearly 45,000 men, are estimated to be impacted by interpersonal violence. More than likely, you know someone. We also know that violence does not act alone. It's often compounded with economic, housing, and transportation challenges that make it difficult for survivors to leave for the first time. We estimate that it will take a survivor roughly 7 times to fully flee from an abusive relationship. These sobering statistics remind us of how grateful we are for you to be taking part in our event this morning to learn more about how you can help us change this reality, creating a Grand Forks County with resilient individuals, strong families, and thriving communities. Before I invite Koya to the stage, let's turn our attention to the screens to learn more about the ways your investment is moving our Safer Tomorrow's roadmap and our one community forward.
Part of what makes our holistic approach so powerful is the strength of our partnerships. CVIC is fortunate to walk arm in arm with donors, volunteers, and partners who care about our mission as much as we do. Because we never walk alone, our clients don't either. It's the strength that we gain from each other that makes something as audacious as ending interpersonal violence in 2 generations absolutely possible.
I firmly believe that their 2-generation goal is reachable as long as we have the support in our community and we have the people willing to go out there and educate. It is a realistic plan.
So if you have a place like the CVIC that can step in and help break that cycle, it's huge.
I have been in 5 different school systems, and this is the only community in which I have been part of a partnership like this. And again, I think that speaks to the strength of the leadership at CVIC. I think it speaks to the strength of the mission of CVIC and their responsiveness to the needs of the people in front of them.
As CVIC has grown throughout the years, we have been fortunate to experience a community that has responded in spades, whether that has been educational growth from kindergarten all the way up into our collegiate level, or interfacing with law enforcement and healthcare. Grand Forks County is truly a community that treats its neighbors like family.
Not maybe often enough does a community get to experience what a replacement hospital. You know, we all use the terminology new hospital. It's really a replacement hospital. So to have a building that allows the space and the mindset around newer technologies and the advancement of healthcare, but then as we talk about, particularly with sexual assault, the realization of the needs of some of our patients. And so to be able to create special spaces, private spaces that allow us to provide care, but at the same time help preserve dignity, improve privacy, and then bring in category experts, simulate some of those flows and what it would look like for a victim to kind of walk through this process.
We at Rydell give to CVIC each year because of how important the services are that CVIC provides to the community. Our vision at Rydell is to be so effective that we're able to be helpful to others, and one of our key values is to be a good community citizen.
I've always felt CVIC belongs to all of us as a community, and how those services continue is through our community support. When we think about the number of families that have been impacted by interpersonal violence, it means a lot to us to know that the Angels on Wheels program has been able to assist 24 recipients so far.
And to see the looks on the faces of the recipients was just so heartwarming.
To close the transportation gap in our community not only means a lot to Greg and I, but it means a lot to the entire staff at the Rydell dealerships.
Therapy plays a big role when it comes to supporting and helping kiddos who've experienced trauma.
If we could have a community that truly had all the supports they needed to cope with depression, to learn skills to overcome triggers related to trauma.
Having someone there, I know a big thing that kids say to me as a therapist is it's so nice to have someone to talk to. It's nice to have someone there.
Being recognized by a national partner like Mutual of America really underscored for me how fortunate we are not only to have financial investment, but individuals, volunteers, and donors who give of their time and talent on behalf of CVIC.
And the Mutual of America award to me wasn't an award for Grand Forks Public Schools. It was an award for CVIC and the services that you provide us. Being part of that is beyond an honor.
The partnership between UND and the CVIC has been incredible. So it began in 2015, and it's grown over that time. And in fact, in 2023, the confidential advocate actually became a full-time position who is on campus all the time. It's just been a stunning way to support our students, but also our faculty and staff members.
In addition to financial gifts and powerful partnerships, area neighbors from all walks of life continually step up to support CVIC through a variety of community events and volunteer activities.
Kind of having that partnership with Alpha Chi and CVIC has really opened up a lot of new doors to be able to educate others and raise awareness and donate back to organizations.
I have some hopes and dreams. What I would like to see is every program that we offer at CVIC, which is K through 12, be implemented through a streamlined process. So every kid gets healthy relationship education at every level. So when they go off to college or go out into the community, they have sufficient dosage of healthy relationship messaging where they can be in a community where they feel safe because they're creating those safe spaces. That would be my dream, is just to share it with the world.
I'll never get tired of Brittany's, the way she beams at the end of that video. You can just feel her compassion for those kiddos and those dreams. It's people like Brittany who remind me how truly special our one community is. When we have a team that believes in themselves and believes in two generations, I believe our dreams are limitless. And as you'll hear from two of my new friends here in the audience shortly, those dreams signify hope. They signify hope in one community that cares, one individual who sees you, and one friend who says, I'm there for you. Shara and Amarel understand the power of one firsthand. For them, it was one individual, a gymnastics teammate who answered the phone at just the right time. For Shara, it was a guidance counselor who sensed something was off and asked a lot of good questions. And as you'll hear from both of them in just a few minutes, it was these individuals that really helped start the pathway to their healing. And it's something that Shara and Amarel will never forget. But before you meet them face to face, I'd like to go back a couple of years. For Shara, this has been almost 2 decades. For Amarel, it's been about 5 years. They both grew up less than 80 miles apart. They're relatively close in age. They both experienced abuse way too young and far too long and far too early. But their young lives could not be more distinct. At age 21, Shara became a mom. And she wanted to teach her young son how to have a stronger voice, a safer future, and a better life. Amarel experienced a high school relationship that quickly escalated to emotional, psychological, and verbal abuse. a Fargo native who had really never left home until college. Most of what Amarelle remembers is rooted in parents who truly adored her. She came from a home where adults encouraged and supported her growth, and it worked. She excelled, both as a student and an athlete, both in high school and then later on as a collegiate. Shira's childhood looked a little bit differently. By age 18, she had lived in 7 different communities, 3 different Air Force bases, and 2 different countries. Until she found CVIC, most of what she remembered was helplessness and overwhelming fear. Her childhood was scarred by sexual abuse at the hands of a family friend who was supposed to protect her. For Shira, that childhood was taken from her. For Amarelle, her adulthood started way too early. Essentially 2 young lives, obviously forced to grow up way too fast. And now they are here, worlds apart, and 2 generations between them. Their 2 young lives could not look more different. But if you take a closer look at their abuse experience, it reads like 2 sisters. Fear, isolation, silence, depression, hypervigilance at any cost. I'm grateful to tell you that thanks to your support, neither of these 2 young women had to walk alone. And thanks to their courage, other survivors won't either. It was one individual and one friend who led them to a better place. I think about the kind souls who reached out to Shira and Amarelle, and I'm truly grateful, not only for Shira and Amarelle, but for those of us who are going to follow their lead. I think about Shira and Ezra, a young 11-year-old now, active and thriving, who's not going to repeat what his mother experienced. It was one individual who cared about Shira and Ezra that is now going to transform a family, 2 lives, 2 futures, and if we're lucky, maybe an entire community. And Amarelle, from her sorority house and her dorm room, quickly followed suit. She's going to tell you in just a few minutes how she worked to raise awareness and engage others in what we're doing. 2 different paths, 2 fierce advocates, 1 community, 1 individual, and 1 voice. Shira and Amarelle's experiences are realities that our team witnesses daily. And because in our world at CVIC, no change can happen without focused results, when it comes to the Safer Tomorrows roadmap, it's not uncommon for our team to crunch the numbers and track performance. Amarelle and Shira and Ezra bring these numbers home, literally. They remind us that Grand Forks County is a community that truly reaches far and wide because the need is far and wide. Amarelle and Shira also join a dedicated group of local and state leaders, many of them in this room. We stand arm in arm, and each year we help over 3,000 clients in 29 schools, 10 rural communities, and 4 counties. And they're here today giving of their generosity, of their time and talents, and they're helping us move our Safer Tomorrows roadmap forward. And we're entering our 7th year. And I'm grateful to tell you that thanks to your support, the progress is evident. It's also humbling to know that in nearly every metric of our safety, healing, and education and prevention pillar, we're signifying a need that is far greater than anticipated. Let's take a look. So in our safety pillar, we anticipated when we entered the roadmap 6 years ago that we would reach over 3,500, we would provide 3,500 nights of shelter and assist roughly 500 adults and children. In actuality, it was 19,000 nights of shelter and almost 770 children and adults. Our crisis line gets pretty busy. We anticipated over 4,000 calls, with 90% of those callers reporting enhanced safety. Unfortunately, the call volume was over 4,300, but 96% reported enhanced safety. For those who use violence in their relationship, we projected we would serve 230 men and we actually educated almost 100 more than that, as well as 76 women. We take a look at their performance after they leave the program. 2 years following, we anticipated we would see a reduction of 911 calls by 70%. It was actually 73%. In our healing pillar, we projected that we would provide 9,300 sessions of therapy for 468 youth and adults. In actuality, over 11,500 sessions for over 1,100 adults and youth. We projected that 90% of youth would learn healthy coping skills and heal from trauma. In actuality, we did a little bit better than that. 98% of youth we served were learning healthy coping skills and improved emotional well-being. We anticipated that 90% of youth would see better grades and improved ability to pay attention in school, as well as behavior. In actuality, we landed at 84%. Our youth continued to step up into this work with us. We projected that we would provide education for over 9,800 youth. In actuality, it was 12,600 youth. We asked athletes if they could identify abusive behaviors and projected that we would have 92% saying they could. In actuality, it was 95%. So what Shira and Amarel have taught us is that these statistics can change and that we don't have to be prisoner to grave results and grave numbers like this. But perhaps the best way to learn about statistics and numbers is by those who have lived through them. And Shira Atkins could never have imagined, after a lifetime of abuse, both as a youth and later as an adult, that she'd be here with you today, well over 700 people who care about her and want to change the experience that she went through. But she's here today, and she's ready to share in hopes that others might be served. Let's take a look.
Your spirit knows something's not right. Your brain can't process, really. At 8 years old, I was sexually abused by my dad's best friend at the time, who was security forces in the military. My dad went away to Saipan with his girlfriend at the time for the weekend, so we stayed with this man. You know, he really did the grooming process. He made it sound like it was normal and that he did this to his daughters. The special victims unit of the military was flown in. That was scary. And then going into court process, they had me on a live recording going out into the courtroom, so I didn't have to see this man. I was like always on survivor instinct, fight, flight, or freeze. I settled for most of my relationships. There was drug use involved, and I was physically abused. And one that nearly killed me. It went from the drugs to, for a short period of time, to alcohol. And it wasn't until getting pregnant with Ezra that I was like, I have to stop this because I want my son. I just had to say a prayer, and I was like, God, you got to get me out of this. I ended up getting a card from one of the police, and that's kind of how my journey with CVIC started. Once I got into shelter, I was able to just have somewhere safe to be, and I knew I needed to change my life. I came to a really dark place, and my best friend was like, Shara, you need to call CVIC and go work with this particular therapist for EMDR.
EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. The focus is on what was their most traumatic memory and starting there. And they don't have to get into graphic details about it, but it allows them to reprocess that.
I needed CVIC for this extended period of time to be able to heal from those past traumas. And during that time, I was in abusive relationships. And in so processing 2 different times of life at the same time, you need help. Some sessions were great, And some sessions were heart-wrenching where you have to stop.
So often they'll come in to talk about one thing, and as we're working together, there's other stuff that comes up. It's like, oh, okay, there has been a history of repeated traumas.
She made me feel so safe to ask these questions and made me feel so safe when she answered them.
It's really powerful to be able to work with clients and help them to see their worth and recognize this wasn't my fault. I didn't do anything wrong. It's not what's wrong with me, it's what happened to me. It's an honor for me to be able to be there for clients and watch them blossom. It's really their work that they're doing, it's not me. I can't take credit for all the gains that each client has made. It's their own hard work.
It desensitized me to my traumas. So when I'd see it, it didn't freak me out, it didn't scare me, and it helped me understand why I behaved certain ways growing up. And it helped me be able to start to love myself again. It was a growing experience and very vulnerable, but a good vulnerable because I felt so safe. Like I knew I was safe here, and it just was a huge blessing and a huge answer to prayer that I needed because I was so desperate.
Seeing that being able to have some joy in life and have goals.
Some of my goals that I either have or been working on is going and getting my phlebotomy license to kind of get me to the point to be able to start working in ministry.
It's pretty awesome to see the growth and see them move forward in their life, closing that chapter, and now there's many new chapters that they have ahead of them.
I have a passion for running and working out, and so that's also in my goal as well. Another big thing is getting to a point of being able to forgive those that hurt you. It doesn't mean you're going to be their best friend or ever talk to them again, but being able just in your heart to be able to forgive them, I think is a big part of that healing. When I think about the future with my son, there's a lot of different things that I'm excited about. One, just being able to watch him grow up in a more healthy way than I ever was able to get, and to just have a really good bond with him. I choose to share my story because I know there's others out there that have been through what I've been through or worse. Maybe encourage them to be able to go and receive services or go and receive help. Healing can be done, and if we can have our victims turning into survivors, the hope, is that they're not going to be another generation of trauma passed down. I would personally like to thank every single donor that has invested in CVIC. Without you, this vision that CVIC has would be impossible. The healing that's happened in my life would have been impossible. I look forward to the future and some of the plans and goals that I have. A lot of it has to do with my story and helping others heal. I'm excited to see where life ends up bringing me.
Shara, you are amazing. I know you're out there, I can't see you, but would you stand so we can recognize you? I truly appreciate your courage, my friend. Thank you so much. Now I'd like to introduce you to another individual who's demonstrated the power of one in spades. Beneath her thoughtful disposition is a fierce advocate who truly wants to help others. She'll be the first to tell you that we are in this together and that no amount of change can happen without action. She's the kind of human being that you hope your kids and your grandkids grow up to be. Please help me in welcoming Amaryl Upton.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amaryl Upton, and I wanted to start out by saying that I am so lucky to be standing here in front of you today. I am no voice for those who feel they don't have one, because I was once that person. Growing up in Fargo, North Dakota with a loving family and a great group of friends was pretty fantastic. I was involved in a variety of activities, including dance, swimming, gymnastics, tennis, church, any new activity I could try. I was involved in clubs and had a multitude of leadership positions that contributed to an otherwise excellent high school experience. My life is exactly what any 16-year-old could want. Unfortunately, a lot of this quickly changed 5 years ago. Without even knowing it was happening, I found myself in an abusive relationship my junior year of high school. This is something that I never thought could happen to me, and at first I was convinced it wasn't happening. Everything started out seemingly perfect, a relationship that I thought would be my forever. In the beginning, signs of love and affection overflowed. I was bombarded with gifts, kindness, and appreciation. However, within weeks of him relocating to another state, and without me even realizing it, I slowly began losing myself. I knew deep down I wasn't myself. Some of his demands seemed excessive and unreasonable, but I was doing this for someone I thought I loved, so maybe it was okay. The first signs seemed subtle. One day, when I was checking my Instagram and Snapchat, I noticed several of my friends missing from my feed. After looking into it a bit more, I discovered that he had blocked several of my friends. At first, I thought it was a protective gesture and didn't think much of it. However, before I knew it, my entire contact list had been wiped. Family, friends, coaches, mentors, anyone who had meaning in my life. I complied to keep him happy. After all, he said he loved me. Brainwashed without even realizing it, I figured that would be the extent of his demands. But sadly, this was just the beginning. Before I knew it, he was telling me to delete every single picture in my camera roll, my Snapchat memories, and even the pictures I had posted on Instagram with other people. In his mind, if I really loved him, all I needed was his love, his pictures, his connections. His actions were designed to segregate me from my support system, people I loved and trusted. I knew this was sideways, but if all he needed to feel good about our relationship, what could it hurt to comply? The conflicting emotions of the situation were scary and confusing. None of this felt normal either, but maybe this was my new normal. Maybe I really did only need him. I later learned that this was manipulation talking, which I fell for over and over. What came next stays on my mind to this very day. He demanded that I quit activities in sports. It started with swimming and then gymnastics. Unlike swimming, I loved gymnastics. I was making such great progress within the sport, being elected captain and a leader of my team. As much as I loved this sport, I would rationalize why it was all right to quit. After all, I wasn't planning to pursue the sport after high school. I felt guilty for letting my team down, but in the back of my mind, it didn't matter because he was all I needed. I wish I had realized earlier how much I let myself down too. Something that was my passion was lost in an instant. I remember one of my teammates and best friends expressed to her mom that she was really concerned about me. She felt like something wasn't right. Her mom then reached out to my mom, which is when my parents found out that something was really off and I wasn't just sad that he had moved away. At first, I was really angry with my friend. Why would she tell my parents and ruin my so-called happiness? What I didn't realize at the time is that she probably saved my life. I'm forever grateful for her genuine concern. You would not have recognized me back then. As I think about the months in that relationship, I don't either. Far from the person I am today, I don't recognize that girl or the lengths she went to keep peace, follow his rules, and avoid further fear. I wasn't showering, brushing my hair, or putting any effort into an everyday routine. I followed his dress code to a T, wearing one specific pair of baggy Under Armour joggers, rotating between 2 extra-large shirts. I was told I wouldn't enjoy the outcome if I were not to follow his rules. The threats became more and more frequent. He was managing my every move. He was miles away, yet constantly in my space. Every minute of every day was directed. I felt suffocated even walking to class. He also forbid me to talk to anyone, including friends, peers, and even teachers. When I walked to class throughout the day, he required me to FaceTime him. When I didn't, he would yell and berate me. I remember one specific day on FaceTime, I had smiled at someone while passing by. I immediately heard screaming coming from my phone and had instant regret for even smiling. The control became obsessive and constant. Alongside my self-esteem, my grades and school performance suffered too. Once a thriving 4.0 student, my grades plummeted to a 2.1 grade point average. This was far from the stellar track record I was proud of and nothing I could have ever imagined. More and more people in my life started raising concerns. Consumed by his control, I shared my family's concerns with him. After that, segregating me from my friends was not enough. He wanted division and distance between my parents too. He told me I needed to leave my parents' house and stay with my grandparents. He convinced me to make up a story and tell counselors at school that I didn't feel safe at home. This resulted in my parents being brought to the school and my whole life flipping upside down. I stayed at my grandparents for 2 weeks, and that's when the results of the abuse began to surface, and I realized that something really wasn't right. I wasn't even talking to my parents or sister, all of whom loved me and just wanted the real me back. The turning point was when I didn't even go home for Thanksgiving. I had never missed this family holiday. That's when I knew I needed to tell someone and get help, but who? All of my contacts were deleted. I no longer had a phone because it was with my parents, and the only form of communication I had with him was a shared Google Doc on my school computer. Out of some miracle, I remembered one of my teammates' phone numbers. In tears and distraught, I told her everything. I told her I didn't have the courage to end the relationship myself because I feared what he would do. She ended the relationship for me, and in that moment, I felt pounds of weights lifted off my shoulders. I was terrified, I was nervous, I was hopeless, but I knew it needed to be done. My school quickly introduced me to a counselor from the Rape and Abuse Crisis Center in Fargo. I was grateful for the support, but the healing process was slow. It was hard to face the severity of what had transpired so quickly, and as glad as I was to be out of the relationship, I didn't want to get him in trouble. The Sunday after the relationship ended, I went to church for the first time in 8 months. As faith would have it, the lesson was on healing from toxicity and abuse. The pastor asked anyone who needed a healing hand to stand. Although hesitant at first, I stood up, and my dad stood up with me as tears started rolling down my face. In this moment, I knew I was ready to begin my healing process and reshape my life in a direction that I was excited about. When I had the courage, I shared my story on Facebook and Instagram. Several people came forward with similar experiences and asked for help and advice. This is when I knew that the pain that I went through could be a platform that I could share help from. In addition to sharing my experience and leading others to abuse resources, I wanted to personally contribute. The following summer, I began fundraising for the Rape and Abuse Crisis Center so that others could benefit from their free, confidential services. My senior year of high school, I joined Philanthropy in Youth, where I had the opportunity to become a leader of the club and chose a topic of domestic violence nonprofits. I then started a mental health club at my school, where the goal was to eliminate the stigma surrounding mental health disorders and focus on suicide prevention. Once at UND, I went through the sorority recruitment process. I found a home away from home at Alpha Chi Omega, another organization who shared my passion for domestic violence awareness, its national philanthropy. The experience led me to an incredible group of women that enabled me to continue investing in a purpose and partnership with CVIC. Without organizations like Alpha Chi Omega and CVIC, so many stories would go untold, and so many victims would feel stuck like I once was. When I think about the way my 16-year-old life transitioned from such a scary, confusing place to a community that welcomes me with open arms, I hardly recognize who I was. With meaningful prevention and intervention programs, healing can happen and lives can change. Thanks to organizations like the Rape and Abuse Crisis Center, mine did. Reflecting back 5 years ago, I truly wish that myself and those around me had been more educated on the topic of domestic violence. Although the resources were available to me after I'd gotten out of the relationship, and I am forever grateful for that, I often wonder if circumstances would have been different if I were more educated. Would I have recognized the signs sooner? Would my peers in school avoid asking me, why didn't you leave sooner? Or not have their first thought be to tell me you're being dramatic and quit talking about it? I believe that the education now available through CVIC to all ages in our community could create a great impact on upcoming generations. If I would have told 16-year-old me, who thought that her world was ending, that she'd be in a doctorate program and surrounded by people each and every day that love and care about her, she wouldn't have believed it. If you take one thing away from what I've stated today, I want you to know that it's okay to not be okay, it's okay to seek help, and it's okay to feel lost. But it does get better even when it seems impossible. Opportunities are out there waiting for you even if you feel hopeless. Lastly, help those around you, and don't be afraid to speak up because you never know when it can save someone's life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amaral, for your courage and giving everyone in this room a chance to learn from your experience. Your compassion and your commitment are very powerful. They remind all of us how important one person can be in helping friends and family flee from interpersonal violence. That's where each of you come in today. You can become a friend and support more survivors like Amaral and Shara. Table captains, please distribute the CVIC referral cards on your table while I review some of the ways that you can help. As Amelia and I have learned as personal donors, investing in a plan designed to save and heal lives for the next generation is one of the most important investments any of us can make. Thank you to our trailblazers who were among the first to stand with the CVIC 7 years ago at the start of our Safer Tomorrows roadmap. Without you, we would not be where we are today. This morning, we must raise $450,000 in gifts and pledges for the next 5 years. I am extremely pleased to share that we have already secured $25,000 toward this goal thanks to the generosity of our leadership sponsors. With $425,000 yet to raise, as I look around this room, I wholeheartedly believe that we have the right people here today to meet and even exceed our goal. Our Dreammaker Society is key to making this happen. Dreammakers make pledges over 5 years, which allows us to budget and to anticipate our ability to meet community needs. We currently have 266 Dreammakers whose names are listed in your programs. The Dreammakers are our dream team. They not only shine a light on the power of one, but create safer tomorrows for generations to come. If you are a Dreammaker with a blue ribbon on your name tag, please stand so that we may now recognize you. Thank you. You may be seated. Today, to meet our goal, we need 50 people to join our Dreammaker Society at one of our 5 giving levels. I hope you will strongly consider becoming a Dreammaker. There is no better time to invest in safer tomorrows than today. Before the table captains pass out the gift form, I want to briefly share the impact you could make in the lives of our clients at each Dreammaker Society pledge level. The first level is Building Hope, a pledge of $1,000 a year for 5 years. With this gift, you could connect survivors like Melinda and her boys with life-saving support day or night throughout our crisis line. If you would consider a gift at this level, which is just $83 a month, your contribution would let us provide crisis intervention and safety planning services for 40 adults and their children for the next 5 years. The second giving level is Guarding the Future, a pledge of $5,000 each year for 5 years. If you would consider a gift at this level, your contribution will provide 102 nights in shelter for survivors like Janice and her 3 children who would otherwise be trapped in a daily life of fear. The next giving level is creating dreams. A pledge of $10,000 each year for 5 years will make a profound impact on families striving or aspiring to a better way of life. If you consider a gift at this level, you would provide 170 sessions of evidence-based therapy for traumatized survivors like Esther, who has gotten her life back and continues to navigate her healing journey every day. The next level is changing lives, where you will empower survivors with advocacy services to heal, learn, and live independently to create a safe and loving home. If you would consider a gift at $25,000 each year for 5 years, your support would provide a hopeful future for more than 124 survivors like Kyle, who are committed to stopping the cycle of violence in their family. The last level is promoting a healthy culture, where your annual gift of $50,000 a year over 5 years could raise a new generation of children equipped to change our communities forever. You would provide healthy relationship education to nearly 4,500 students who will learn to prevent the use of violence at every stage of their lives. This is precisely how you will get to our long-term vision of ending violence. With your investment at this level, your impact will be felt forever. Also on the form that your table captain will hand out in a few minutes is a section dedicated to our current dream makers and other pledge holders. Today we have 106 members in the room. If just 50 of you enhance the amount of your current pledge or extend it for future years, you will markedly increase our chances of achieving our goal today, and most important, sustain client services for years to come. Another way to give is by becoming a Rise Up monthly giving member. Your monthly contribution provides a recurring gift that can quite literally help us change lives. This year, we need 50 new Rise Up members. And with 40 current members in the room today, we invite you to consider enhancing your monthly gift by as little as $5 or $10 a month. The impact of your increased support will truly make a tangible difference in our ability to save lives. We are grateful for one-time gifts as well. For all types of giving, payment options are provided on the back of the form. If you are joining us today as an esteemed member of the Dreammaker Society, my personal thanks for partnering with CVIC to help us try and end interpersonal violence. Please be sure to sign your pledge form and make your first payment today, if possible. If you are giving at another level, we truly appreciate your gift. However you choose to give today, you will be supporting the entire mission of the CVIC. At this time, I'd like to ask our table captains to pass out the gift forms, and we will give you a few minutes to complete them. On behalf of the staff and the board of directors of the CVIC, I would like to thank each and every one of you for coming today, for your generous support of CVIC in our community, and for choosing to be the kind of person who empowers families to thrive in Greater Grand Forks. Thank you again to Lisa Sondreal and her family, All True, and the Dakota Medical Foundation. We'd also like to thank Brady Marts and our in-kind sponsors, Mobile Pro and the Alaris Center, for their tremendous support of our audio visuals and event production today. They are truly a pleasure to work with from start to finish. Table captains, please collect all gift forms and reusable name tags and give your envelope marked with your table's attendance to a CVIC staff member in the back of the room on your way out this morning. Thanks for coming and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.